the Know Your Gear podcast.
Illuminatic says, "Hey Phil, I've noticed lately that Eart is selling guitars for $1,000 to $3,000. Do you have any thoughts on companies that try to go upscale? Are those models still good value?" I think not. I think no. I have not touched those guitars, so I'm not testifying to their quality. They could be great quality. I think the ones that I played for $300 were great quality. But you used the word. What was the word you used? Do you think there's a good value? A value would be no, because they don't have they're not a brand that I would associate with higher end or expensive instruments. So usually, and by the way, that doesn't mean much. I mean, Schecter, depending on when you decided you like Schecter throughout the history of Schecter, when they were a parts company, and then they were kind of like, then they were the import company, and then now they do a high-end US custom shop. And there's a lot of companies like that. But I always think of like, what always comes to my mind was, what was the brand that did cheap guitars and then started doing really expensive ones and it didn't last? What was that? Why can't I think? I want to say, I know they made a guitar for Volkswagen. I think for Volkswagen and John Mayer, right? Why am I drawing a blank on that brand? But it was an inexpensive brand, and they hired a custom shop in the US, or they opened one. I think they hired one to start doing expensive instruments, and they just did not do well. So, and think of this, I can't even remember the brand. First Act. That's what it was. First Act. Now, I don't feel good saying, by the way, thank you, Nella, for saying First Act, and then Smelly Cats Jazz. You guys were really great hitting it too. So First Act. So I don't think First Act and Eart are the same, but I get the same vibe. I don't think it's a good idea. Now, keep in mind, how do they get to high end if they don't make them? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Here's what I would say, Lunomatic. I talk to you guys like I would talk to my friends. Telling my friend, I would say, you don't want to be the guinea pig on that idea. It's kind of like, a lot of stuff to me, even though it's not a technology business in the guitar industry, they're still like, hey, VHS beta comes out. Let's wait and see where the dust settles. Hey, there's bending, the flat screen bending TVs, like, right, where does this go? Where does it settle? And that's where I feel like this. I would say with Eart, I would say let somebody else spend a lot of money on an Eart guitar and see how that goes for them and see if they're happy with it. But I don't know. But I wouldn't, is my thought process. So if you like this clip and you'd like to watch another one, you can click right here. And if you want to see the entire episode of the podcast, you can click right there. As always, thank you for your time and know your gear.